Welcome to Carlton's Math Corner. Today we're going to be talking about ratios. To begin, something to put a smile on your face. Can you imagine humidity doing that to your hair? At this time, make sure you have your math journal as well as your vocabulary packet. Today our target is I can write ratios as percentages. Let's talk about first, what is a ratio? A ratio is a comparison of two numbers with the same unit. For instance, if I compare 3 cats to 4 dogs, they're both animals, so they are in the same unit. Or if I compare apples to oranges, they are both fruits, so they have the same unit. Notice on the first one I compared cats to dogs with a colon in the middle. 3 cats to 4 dogs. This is an example of a ratio. Same thing, here's another way of writing a ratio. 5 apples to, using the word to, 6 oranges. My question to you is, how many fruit are there in all? Yes, there are 11 fruit. And the reason why I'm asking that is because I want you to create a fraction using the total number of fruit and apples. And so we're going to compare the number of apples to the total of number of fruit, but we're going to write it as a fraction because that is the third way that you can write a ratio. And so if I'm comparing the number of apples, well, there are 5 apples. So I would put 5 as my numerator. And how many total fruit are there? 11. You are correct. So this is another way that I can write a ratio. So the first way was, remember, with a colon. Second way was with the TO, the word TO. And the third way is written as a fraction. Now, what I would like to know is, how can we change this comparison to a percent? Well, let's use our knowledge from prior concepts, and how can I change a fraction to a percent? And remember, we use these boxes to help organize our information. The numerator goes on top, and denominator goes on the bottom, because our part goes on top. Our whole goes on the bottom. Remember, 11 is our whole, it's our total number of animals, or not animals, of fruit. And so part was the number of apples. Now, if I want to know what percent that is, remember, what steps do we take to figure out the percent? Yeah, the first step is change to a decimal. And if I take 5 divided by 11, because remember this line right here means division, 5 divided by 11, I get a decimal. And notice it's a repeating decimal, it's 0.45 repeating. And then what do I do with this 100? Because I have to cross over this line in the middle to get to 100, and I need to know what percent that is equivalent to. Correct, we're going to multiply by 100. And so let's put that as step number 2. Change to a percent, and we are multiplying by 100. Okay, and so if I multiply by 100, watch what happens to the decimal point. Yes, it moves 2 places to the right. And so I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to put a line over that to show that it's repeating. Let's look at another problem. What if I have all these candy bars, 4 Snicker bars, 3 Twix bars, 3 Butterfinger bars, and I want to know, first of all, how many total are there? Well, if we add those together, we have 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 3 more is 10. And so I have 10 total bars, and the reason why I'm doing that is because I can't find a percent of something unless I know the whole amount. I need to know, to create a fraction, between my comparisons, I need to know what the whole amount is. And so I'm going to find that first, and then if I want to compare Twix bars to Snicker bars, and this actually needs to say, whoops, ratio. I want what ratio can I create when comparing Twix bars to Snicker bars. And Twix bars, how many Twix were there? 3. 2, how many Snicker bars? 4. Okay, this is one way I can write it. I can write it like this. Or the third way is as a fraction. So let's do the fraction. What percent is, let's do, how about Twix bars to the total bars? Well, how many Twix bars again? 3, and so that's going to be our part. So we're going to put that on top. 3 Twix bars to how many total? We found that number up above. It's 10. So we're going to write that as our whole amount. And so we need to figure out what percent this is. So remember our steps. 3 divided by 10. 3 divided by 10 equals. And then we're going to multiply by 100. Awesome. And so our percent is 30%. Okay, so today we were just basically taking ratios and we were changing them to percents. So we're first comparing different unit or similar units to each other. Like candy bars, we compared fruit, we compared animals, okay, and all of those had the same unit. And then what we did is we figured out what is the total of them together. And then with that total, we could actually compare individual ones to the total. You know, like Twix to total. Or we could even do Butterfingers to the total amount, or Snicker bars to the total amount. Back here with the fruit, we compared apples to the total amount. And once we had that total amount, then we could actually figure out our percent. And so apples to total amount was 45.45 repeating percent. And I probably should add a percent sign here. So what I'd like for you to do is to figure out this ticket problem. So Susie has 4 horses, 3 cows, 8 pigs. What's the percentage of pigs? So we're comparing pigs to the total number of animals. So here's some hints to remember. What's the total number of animals? Then what is the percent? And remember, we're using this little, the bar, or the table in order to help organize our information. Well, thank you so much for joining me at Carlton's Corner, and I look forward to meeting with you